Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmonds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode. Good morning, fellow bookworms, book cohorters, book lovers, and creatives. We are back for another bright Wednesday morning for you all, and I am excited for today's episode. Now, this is episode 36 of the podcast, and like always, and during an ongoing season, our show is aired every Wednesday, both for Spotify as well as on my YouTube channel. You have the option to listen or to watch us. I leave that in your hands, whether you want to do that. Either or, you can do both. I would love if you do both, but whether you're listening or watching, please click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss a single episode, and you will be notified when a new one comes along. Like always, all of our past episodes are there for you at the ready for you to return to or to listen chronologically if you're listening to us for the very first time. Now, Chinese New Year, it is just around the corner. Yup, it is this coming weekend already, February 10. So, Kong Hei Fa Choi. If you speak Mandarin, it's Gong Si Fa Chai. If you speak Fukien, that's where it is. That's where the difference lies. Gong Hei Fa Choi. Or if not, Gyong Hei Huat Zai. All right. So whether you believe in Chinese astrology or not, surely you can appreciate a story that incorporates elements of the practice and weaves a moral tale. And that is what our guest today has done. Now, he is a theater actor by profession. Recently, he put on the director's hat, having directed Portraits. This is a bold stage adaptation of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. I love that book. And this was in collaboration with Langgam Performance Troupe and Callie Wright. Now, our guest also grew up in a household full of books, surrounded by loving adults who they themselves were avid readers. Lucky. And he penned his first horror story at the back of his math notebook. I need to ask about this horror story. When he was in 4th grade. And this is much to the delight of his classmates who read his story, and he got passed around. Now, he is also the author of the novella, Finding Alberto. He is currently working on 2 projects, a new metaphysical horror novel. Oh, I need to know what this is all about. And his second children's story. He lives in Bulacan with his wife and their daughter in a household full of books. He's also a good friend, a fellow reader, and member of my own readers group. That's Anne Rice Philippines. Now, Anne may not be with us anymore, but her legacy continues on. Now, if ever, what sort of legacy does our guest wish to leave and be known for? I don't know, but better yet, let's personally ask him and bring him in. Let's all say hi and good morning to my friend and fellow vampire, Mr. Rico Del Rosario.
Yay!
Hello!
Good morning, CJ. Thanks for having me. And yes, let's pass on good legacies to everyone who's listening. Good morning.
Good morning. That's right. Welcome to Urban Fantasy. Finally, you are here. We've talked about this for the longest time, and finally, you're here. I'm so excited. First of all, congrats for the release. Let me hold the book up. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yay.
And this is called Legends and Zodiacs. That's volume 4. Truth be told, I was surprised by this release because, for starters, I didn't know that you were working on something new. So it just so happens this was last year. I bumped into you when I went by the 8 Letters booth during the Manila International Book Fair. Hello to 8 Letters and hello to Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Shout out to everyone else over there. And then when I saw you, I said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then you told me that you were releasing and launching a book. So, that was a surprise, a pleasant one. And but before I ask you about this latest story that you've penned, I usually want to do a little backtrack a bit and ask you if you still remember that one book that intrigued you and made you realize that reading books does open new doors or new worlds for you.
I think it's out of print now. It's called The Mystery of the Plumed Serpent by Barbara Brenner, if memory serves.
Okay.
And my aunt, who's like the book lover, she has like a whole storehouse. Well, she has passed on, but she had this whole storehouse of books, right? And 90s kid. We didn't have gadgets. We didn't have anything else. But she would every summer send me a box of books, just just so I have something to do.
Uh-huh.
And one of those books was The Mystery of the Plumed Serpent, the story of Michael and Lisa, who are twins, boy and
Mm-hmm.
girl twins. And next door, a pet store moves in and then sets up shop. And because they were smart, they kind of smelled that something was quite different, something wrong with the pet store's setup. They break into it, and that's the thrilling part. And they discover treasure. Like,
Okay.
it was stolen treasure, and the people who were setting up the pet store apparently were smugglers, and the cops come and they become heroes. And I've read that story like over and over and over again, like, and then so much so that I memorized every single word. Don't ask me to recite now I've forgotten them, but back then I knew every single thing. And then I would like, for one afternoon, I would be Michael, and I would act out in my room everything that Michael said, everything that Michael did. And then I got tired of Michael. I do the twin sister. And then after a while I would do the villain, and then the cops,
Uh-huh.
and all the characters. After I'd gone through all the characters, that was crazy. If I ever meet that author, I really thank her. She pretty much not only told me that writing is fun, telling stories is fun, also kind of sparked the actor in me, because
Okay.
because of her book, I started play
To act the
around.
characters out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
getting the
That's right.
characters. Yeah, so that book, I wish it's still online. Maybe it's on Amazon somewhere.
Who knows?
We
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
might be
Yeah,
there. Given now that that books get to be reprinted, or if not digitized, the
right.
publisher might do that, or if not, someone, the author, him or herself, or probably, or from their estate, would do that. But yeah, we can look it up and see if it's still available. You probably also know how to bury it, hidden treasures, or where the best place to stash it. After having read that book several times, so I hope that's
Yes,
one of the things that
yes.
she taught you.
The best thing to do is you put it in a crate and put like pets or something in there, just to mask it, and you'll be rich. Just don't let the cops get to you.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I
and don't
learned.
and don't start telling people that you have some hidden treasure buried in your background. So no, no, no. What was it about that book that sort of made you want to go back and live with it and act it out character by character?
Because I never guessed who the villains were. There was
Okay.
always that sense of danger. There was that undercover cop who
Mm-hmm.
you know, as a reader, you would suspect was one of the villains. So it was just the unpredictability of all. And you have two very compelling characters. The twin brother was sort of go, 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 and we'll do the right thing. And the twin sister was a little bit hesitant, was a bit reluctant to do things. But in the end, actually, the twin sister ends up rescuing the twin brother. So
Okay.
it's just the unpredictability of it, and the thrill and the
Nice.
excitement. It's just, yeah, it was as a young boy, that was really something that
Whoa,
fills
cool,
up your
cool.
head.
Growing up, were you always the kind of kid that always had a book with them wherever they went,
Oh,
regardless if you read the book or not?
that's not just me. That's also you.
Yeah, true. I know, I know. Hashtag sakit natin lahat.
Yes.
Yep. Um,
I
was
no,
it?
I bet you were one of those kids who was caught with a book hidden behind the textbook, pretending to be reading in class.
So far, no, because I in class, if I'm really bored, I don't have to pretend. I sleep.
Wow, wow.
In short, bastos. I you can imagine how many times I've been sent to the little boys' room to kind of like freshen up. The if the subject was rather too serious or too boring for me, one of that would be catechism.
Oh, I
Well, I
pity
don't know.
you.
Maybe
Too
it's
young
also the instructors, like, make it more appealing, please. Or it just so happens that the schedule of that particular class is just right after lunch when you've had so
Uh,
much to eat and you're
uh,
really sleepy, and then that is the subject that's presented to you. It's like, really? Religion after lunch? I want to go to sleep. Don't talk anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess it's the same for every one of us who feel that they can't leave the house without a pen in their pocket, or maybe
Mhm,
your mobile phone, or maybe
mhm,
your power bank in case your cell phone needs to be recharged. I mean, it's that feeling of security that we are always after. And if as a kid there was that need to already be secure and hardwired into our system, what more for adults who would grow to great lengths just to have that particular security and achieve it, and achieve what you have, because as I said, you are a stage actor by profession. You are doing what some could only aspire for,
mhm,
especially if stage fright is their number one enemy.
mhm.
So speaking of that, I was wondering, how do you deal with stage fright and in spite of the rehearsals, and do you still have it, and does it ever go away?
It doesn't go away. It
Okay.
in fact, I'm actually more nervous during auditions than so the I guess so auditions number one, like the
Hmm.
worst stage fright. That's because you want to get the job. When you do get the job, then it becomes fun, right? You do rehearsals and all of
Yeah.
that. But then opening night is like, oh no, now the audience is here. Now everything that we've been working for comes to a head. um, the thing that I do is just sit down, breathe, pray to the gods, and drink lots of water, which makes me
Right.
want to go to the bathroom, and then I go out and drink more water. You do what you gotta do, but it's part of the fun. I think it's part of. I guess if you didn't care so much for the job, then you wouldn't feel any jitters,
Yeah, that's true. If you didn't care that much, you just let it slide. Like, okay, I
right?
forgot a line. Oh, I missed a cue, or I'm supposed to be on the right side of the stage and not on the left. Sorry, let me
Right.
just walk back out, walk back there. That's so true. If you don't really care for it, it's not gonna do anything. But when how much, and this is, I don't know if you could call it a mathematical question, how much percentage do you factor in for mistakes when you go through rehearsals? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, well, that depends. Like, if it's the beginning weeks, pretty
Hmm.
much, then you're allowed to make as many mistakes as you can. But of
Okay.
course, you kind of want to improve every single time upon what you did yesterday or the previous rehearsal,
Hmm.
so that when you do get as close to opening night as you can, then everything's like on set, on cue,
On point.
or
Right.
on point, as we call it in the theater, on print. Like it's printed, you're there.
Okay.
So,
All
wow,
right.
wow, I got confetti. Oh my God.
What was that for?
I
Because
don't
you
know,
said
just
the word on print. Does it work for me?
I don't know. Does
Wait,
it
say on print again. See if it
on
works.
print, on point? I don't know what happened. It's
Encore.
magical,
Oh
magical.
no!
I
Where
thought
did the
you did.
glitter? No,
I
I didn't
thought
do
you did.
anything. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
touching.
Wow.
Look, man, no
Okay.
hands. I'm not doing anything. So that was fun.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, StreamYard, for that burst of confetti. I don't know what it was all about.
That's a bit
Um,
of urban fantasy for us. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Where did the confetti come from? But yeah, for those who are watching this on video, you'll be happy to see the confetti. But for those who are listening to us, you may need to watch the video to see that. Um,
confetti on
I,
cue.
Yeah, that's right. I suppose you would also, I don't know, maybe bring a book at least to read during rehearsals. And was there
Mm.
also a particular book that you brought that maybe sparked an interesting conversation with a fellow cast member?
Well, I always bring a book to rehearsals just so when you're stuck in traffic, you have something to do,
Mm, mm.
and also when you're sick of learning and learning and learning your lines and reviewing it to death, and you kind of just need to take a break. Um, I'm not sure. Actors are pretty much as individual as everybody else, so I'm not sure. I've had that experience when a book sparked a conversation. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
may need to, like, lug the book around and say, "I'm reading this. Hey, don't bug me. Okay, I have 15 minutes. It's not my scene yet. So you guys do your thing. I'll do my thing. I'll just be here reading. Probably that. Yeah. But with all that you do, I wonder if you've ever thought that could your work may have influenced the way that you read and write, or maybe it was the other way around, that what you read and write influences how you perform a role.
I think it's both.
Okay.
Really, it's both. Well, just like the story of how I began to fell in love with reading and acting because of that one children's book that I read over and over again. Um, when I am writing and I hit a wall, right? Like I
Hmm.
just don't know how the characters would behave or what they would say at a certain point. I would go, and I'm in my office now. It's messy. I will not show it, but I pretty much remake the whole space in my
Hmm.
imagination to match what the situation the character is in that I'm
Hmm.
writing about, and I would sort of imbibe him, like in like an actor would a character, and just improvise from there.
Okay.
Just trust the gut feel, the way actors trust their guts, and then that sort of it helps inform me what a character would do truthfully, and then
Hmm.
I'd go to my laptop and just write away. And then also, if I have a problem at rehearsals, like I just couldn't
Hmm.
figure out why this character did that, or because when you look through a play, it's just dialogue. It never, unlike novelists, we have the liberty of diving into the character's psyche, describing history,
Right.
describing
There's a backstory for
motivation,
that.
all
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that. The novel gives us that space. The play, the script does not. So that is reliant upon the actors' hard work to
Hmm.
sort of bring that out with their
Hmm.
craft. So when I'm stuck in a scene and the director says, "Okay, that this rehearsal didn't quite work," I would promise him or her I'll find it. And what they do is when I go home that night, I would go to my notebook and I would write it out as if it were my own story, and
Okay.
go through that scene that I'm having difficulty with as an actor, with the eyes, pen in hand, of a writer, my writer self, and just write it out. And for some reason, there's magic in there that flows out, and then it starts to make sense, and then this scene
Hmm.
starts to come from somewhere in me, that when I bring that to rehearsal the next day, the director says, "That's it. You found it. You promised me you'd find it. You found it.
Hmm.
Print that." And that's pretty
Okay.
much. I don't know any other actor who works this way. I'm not sure if it's like a legit method or
Well, this
what.
is the first time I'm hearing it out. So this is
Yeah.
very interesting. I find it very, very informative. Uh, so you mean to say, in a way, sometimes you would have to make up a character's backstory if there was none, right? Just
Yes.
to just to feel the connections. Like, you somehow know in between the lines that the character has suffered trauma, but you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what that trauma is. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to create your own, the character's own history to justify the existence of that trauma in the past, so that it would inform you of why the character is behaving that way in the present.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yes.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, it does work both ways. I can see how it does.
Hmm.
It complements, both for your imagination and also, I guess, execution. I was wondering if you've ever put some of your, with that said, have you ever turned it the other way around, like, use your own backstory
Hmm.
and give it to a role that you're portraying? Has
Like
that
on
ever happened that
stage,
way? Yeah.
I have had, because um I'm more a character actor than like a lead, although I have done like male leads in my younger days,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I do enjoy doing character work more. And as a
Okay.
character actor, I have been cast in the most unusual things. Like even I myself won't cast myself in. Like I've been cast as a young boy of 8 years old who's a beggar, and I don't have experience on that to draw from. I've been cast as like more recently somebody being tortured in a systematic torture chamber,
Oh,
and also an assassin. I think is the play I'm working on now. Um,
okay.
so I
Hey,
have
would it be Assassins by Sondheim? I didn't mean to butt in, but
no. It's Julius Caesar. So I
okay,
get to be
okay.
one of his
All
assassins
right, one of his
in this
assassins.
adaptation.
Because if it were Assassins by Sondheim, let me know when and where I am going.
You are the biggest Sondheim fan, I
Yeah,
know.
we're all Sondheim freaks. So sorry to
So,
digress. I know this is about books, but nonetheless, we're all creatives here. So
yeah,
if we sort of like veer off and insert music into our conversation, that's perfectly
it's fine.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything is inside literature. So, but yeah, I have
exactly.
never had to go through my own personal life to draw
Hmm.
characters from there, and it's just I guess I've just been lucky that way because I've been made to portray really tragic roles, and
Right,
you know
right.
if I just had to kill someone in real life just to know how that feels, then I should not be an actor then.
Exactly. You should be an assassin per se, and you get paid by the hour, not per the kill. Yeah, before I kill you, I'll give you a song and dance number. How about
How about that,
that?
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back further and reminisce on our shared experience of NaNoWriMo. So I
Oh
remember
yeah.
that's where we first met,
That's
right?
how we met. That's
Yeah.
you messaged me because on my profile I think I listed down five of my most beloved authors. Anne Rice is number one, and you
Yeah.
messaged me and you told me about Anne Rice Philippines, which before that I didn't know existed,
There
right?
you go. There you go. Yeah. Now, for those who are wondering, what is NaNoWriMo? Is that like a code word for for people who can write and perform on stage? No, no, no. This is National Novel Writing Month. This is a movement that began in the U.S. wherein you make it a point to write as much as you can, so that by the end of the month, or a given month in this particular case, it's November, you would have a finished book in your hands, one that
Mhm.
would meet the quota of 50,000 words. You can go above 50,000, but if in case you don't meet 50,000, that's still okay. Because what it does, it sort of like instills, the discipline in you to show up every day and write and kick those pages out. So, would you remember what you wrote for Nano then? And could you also, give us a clue for those who have not experienced NaNoWriMo? How
Okay.
was the experience of being in NaNoWriMo?
Um, I completed that manuscript. It's languishing in my hard drive. I'm embarrassed somehow to send it for publication. I guess I shouldn't be, but I wrote an erotica.
Woohoo!
Like
Yes, melodic writers. Yes.
first time joining NaNoWriMo, I wrote erotica about Sleeping Beauty and the dwarves. You can imagine. So
Yeah.
that's I called it the salvation of the salvation of Snow White, and maybe one. Wait, is that the right? I think so. But basta it has Snow
So,
White
so,
in the
so it's no,
title.
so it's Snow White. It's not Sleeping Beauty.
It's not
It's
Sleeping Beauty. It's Snow White. The salvation
yeah.
of Snow
Because
White.
if
I
it
think
was
it's the title.
If it was Sleeping Beauty, you would be up against this one.
That no, but I cannot compare to that. But
That'll
you
be
know what? It was so crazy. I had to because okay, everybody, the book that CJ just showed us should read that book. You should read it. It's a quartet now. There's four books. Just
yes. There's
read the
four
whole
books. Where
series.
is the fourth book? Is somewhere on this side. I have the
Okay,
first three hit right in front of
yeah,
me. So yeah, I have to rework the shelf in front of me. But yeah, the one that I showed you is called The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty. So
yeah.
there you go. If you're wondering which edition this is the Plume edition, and this
We
is
have
the
the
best.
same. We have the
This
same
is
edition.
yeah, this is the best edition so far. Plume edition is the one that I like. Yeah, but my edition for the second one is a little bit different because it's a little bit smaller, but
Mm.
it's Plume and Penguin. So maybe
Oh,
it's I don't know why. Maybe for at one time, Plume got bought out by Penguin. Could be. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I'm happy that I have all four. So yeah. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
We keep digressing. So going back to your erotic Snow White,
Um.
please write this so we can see it. Come on.
Okay, I'll submit it. I'll probably I should go through it again and revise when I need and submit it. It
Yeah,
was
submit it to Cindy.
also. I bet Cindy would like it. I'm sure. Um, and the crazy part was I had to, and this is a good excuse for all writers out there. I had to watch porn because just to get me informed about, okay, so now I'm going through another sex scene. What do I make the characters do? I don't know.
Yeah.
My imagination's out. So I go online, watch some porn, try to take note, and then go on my computer and try
Okay.
to recapture that. So well, it's research,
Yes, it's
yay.
research, right? We always watch porn in order to be informed of what we're writing. So that's pretty okay. So yeah, research for porn.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, God, this conversation is going not how I was expecting it to be. Oh boy. Yeah. So you said that it's languishing there in your hard drive. Would you remember if you met the 50,000 word mark or you
I
surpassed it?
did.
Oh,
I
you did.
did.
Okay, great,
Yeah,
great.
I finished it, and no, I surpassed the 50,000 mark. I didn't quite get to the ending,
Okay,
so I probably have to revisit it and really write an ending for it
right,
that would
right.
stay true to the tale,
To the
not the
tale.
Disney version, but
Yeah, because erotic and Disney do not go hand in
no.
hand. So no, no, no. Did you? Do you have a? Is the title a working title, or is that the ideal title that you have? Which
I'm
is
I'm not married to that title, so I guess it would change if I revisit it.
okay.
The reason I wrote the Salvation of Snow White. I keep thinking of Anne's book. First, I was trying to mirror Anne's Sleeping Beauty books, and especially the first title. Also, because in the end, Snow White does get saved, and
Okay.
not through what we would normally, or what the church would define salvation per se.
Mm-hmm.
She does it her own way. She empowers herself, so she
Okay.
didn't really need the prince. Is where the story took me. I didn't know it was going to take me there when I was writing it. I just really wanted to experience NaNoWriMo, and when I went to the computer, that was what came out, and I just rode
Okay.
with it. So fellow Panther, CJ, yes or
Yes.
no? Yeah.
Uh, uh, Panther, yes, and slightly bullet point person.
Okay. Okay.
So
Makes sense. Makes
yeah,
sense.
so I guess it's somewhere in between. So is the huntsman somebody who looks like Chris Hemsworth at the very least?
Oh my god, that's like a light bulb in my head. But oh my god, he should. If it
Yeah,
does become a movie, he should.
yeah,
He
or
should play it.
somebody who's bulky
Yeah.
and befitting of a huntsman. So
But
who knows?
I will tell you though, when I first thought of it, Idris Alba was in my head.
Oh, okay. That will work. Idris Elba will work. Yes, yes, yes. And if the huntsman takes his time and or decides not to go ahead with what he's been asked to do, then because Snow White beckons, then that's where the story will take us. And we can't wait to read it when you decide to revise that and release it.
Sige
And I
na
will...
nga. You convinced me.
Wait, did you do Nano last year?
I didn't. What
Oh,
was?
didn't.
Oh, because last year we were working on a picture of Dorian Gray. So
Oh, okay, okay.
we had like October, November, December on the Dorian Gray adaptation. So I
Hmm.
was neck deep into that work.
Right, right. I can imagine. So maybe if this year is a little bit more, if your
Yeah,
schedule is flexible, you might
yeah,
just do it again this year, right?
yes, yes.
In doing NaNoWriMo, I was wondering, did you pick up some lessons that you felt were probably applicable today as a creative, even if it's not November?
I think first of all, I think it's the sense of community. Like,
Okay.
it does get lonely when it's just you and your writing tool, whether it's a notebook or your Mac, whatever you use. It does get lonely just sitting there and being alone in your own world. But during NaNoWriMo, I kind of knew that there were thousands, if not millions, of people around the world writing at the same time I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of buoyed me along. I guess that creative energy that we all unleash collectively in November sorts of permeates everything in the universe and encourages the other person and then passes it along. I think that the sense of, yes, you're writing alone, but you're really not. You're not the only
Mm,
writer in the world. There's lots of you. So keep going, keep going.
right. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned community because people always feel that, I mean, writing, yes, it is sort of a solitary thing, but when you have people who are doing the same thing as you are, then it's not as solitary anymore, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there'll be instances wherein people will go online and a group of 10 people, I mean, they're in that chat room 10,
Right.
but out of those 10 people, how many of them are from the same area? Some of them will be writing from, from the US, somebody
Mhm.
from Europe, someone from Asia. So, you're never really alone when you think about it.
Yeah.
There are people going through the same stuff as you are. From what I remember, you write by hand. Is that right?
I still do.
You still do? Oh my
I still
God.
do. Yeah. So
What is the appeal of that? Doesn't isn't it harder to do that by hand? Your penmanship must be better than everyone else's because you have practice. My penmanship is shit. It's chicken scratches.
oh, I don't. I just I feel like when I'm writing nonfiction or reports, then I have to, like, things for work. Then I go straight to the keyboard. But when I need to write a story, and as a pantser, it sort of flows better
It just flows. Okay.
with pen in hand and on paper. And then I feel also like, because there's no delete button when you have pen and paper, you just, okay, I
Yeah.
made a mistake, I just keep going on, and nobody's gonna grade this anyway. Just
Yeah.
write
Put
and
in
write and write.
parentheses, whatever, and then
Yeah,
move to the next
whatever.
line.
And then after writing on the paper, I take a break, and then when I go back, then I transcribe it on the PC, on my
Hmm.
tool, and then I spot the mistakes, like, whoops, it's a plot loophole, or this isn't
Hmm.
true to the character, and then I'm able to correct it now when I'm on my computer. But
On your
but
computer.
when I'm writing by hand, it's just bahala na, like, let everything out, no holds
Okay.
barred.
Right.
So that's
Right.
sort of
So
my process.
it's like it's like automatic handwriting.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah,
Eyes are
it's
closed
almost like
now.
that.
Your pen will just move by itself. Is there a sample that you can show on the screen of how wonderful your cursive is?
Oh,
For
wait,
sure.
let me wait. It's just there. Let me grab it. Give me one sec.
Sure, sure, sure. Go. Okay, you have it already. All right.
Wait. Sorry.
You went to grab it and you have it
Okay,
already.
I'm back.
Yes, yes, yes.
Want me to show it? There,
Yes, please, please, please.
there,
Ah,
there. So pages and pages of all
I'll have to
sources.
I'll have to ask for a closer snapshot of that. But nonetheless, yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks neat. Wow, 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 wow. If my mother saw your cursive or your penmanship, she would she'd probably start comparing me to that. Mine is either ano ba yan, kahig ng manok, chicken scratches, or your penmanship was worse than a doctor's, or it's way too pointed. It's not. You call that cursive? All I see is tower peaks. Where's the curve there? So I don't know. But yeah, I do hope that people, in spite of technology, that we have not forgotten
Mhm.
the need to also the
Mhm.
beauty of writing by
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah, that will never it should never fade. All right, for
Mhm.
people who've gotten used to just computers and all that, try to write once in a while. Okay. So I mentioned in the intro that you do have a book that you wrote
Mhm.
before this one. This was called Finding Alberto. And
Mhm.
can you tell us what the book is all about?
It was well, it was commissioned for an online magazine, so it was originally
Oh, okay.
serialized on an online magazine. Unfortunately, that magazine, that e-blog, is down now.
Mm-hmm.
So after I think a few years since the blog went down, I went to the publisher and asked, "Can I get that story that I wrote for you, and can I put it online?" And she said yes. So there. So I was originally commissioned to write just 10 chapters, so it's serialized for 10 issues, but then the story didn't quite get finished by the 10th chapter, so they allowed me 2 more chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Finding Alberto is about this. She's middle age. She becomes a widow quite late in her
Okay.
age, and then she was in the States. She goes back to the Philippines. And she tries to reconnect with Alberto, who was like an old flame back in college. And Alberto was one of those activist types who was just really always out on the streets. And she, our main character, she chose not to be that way. And I guess that's why they parted ways. They reconnect somehow. And they see if they could try to rekindle any romance.
Mm-hmm.
But the story went elsewhere. It became actually quite political at that time. It became a commentary on the politicians back then, on certain senators,
Mm-hmm.
and the violence that was going on. So
Okay.
that's why it didn't end at the 10th chapter. The publisher said, okay, you have to add more chapters so you could sort of round it off, and I did. So it's still, you found it online. I thought they took it down, but apparently it's still there.
Please don't take it down yet because I've yet to order a paperback.
Oh, okay.
So once I've gotten it, and once have you, once I've gotten around to have you sign it, then yeah, maybe. Well, but no, just leave it there. Just leave it there. Who knows? Who knows? You'll never know, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Unless you want to take it down for a revision and you have additional chapters, then
Mm,
maybe for a
yeah,
second edition, yeah, that'll be also good. Or
we'll see.
um,
Yeah,
yeah,
good idea.
we'll see. And I was wondering, how was the writing process for both of you? Because I saw that there was another name there. Joanne, was it?
Oh yeah. Joan was the reason I put Joan's name there. She's one of my best friends. Well, we go way back.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who introduced me to the blog owner, and
Okay.
and the central idea, it was hers. She said, my idea is there's this man named Alberto, and he's not young, he's not matinee idol, but there's this woman who's become a widow looking for him, and that's just my basic idea. Do you think you can write a story out of it? And said, yeah, I think so. I think I have something. And so Jones was the original idea for it, the character
Mm-hmm.
names, and pretty much the original spark. And then I took that and ran away with it, and so I would submit the chapters to her for her
Okay.
sort of, and she would just pass it right on to the blog owner who
Mm-hmm.
published it almost word for word with no edits.
Oh
So that was,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So most of the writing was on your end, because I know that for some people who collaborate, like one person would write this chapter for today. At the end of the day, I send it to you. You go over it, and then you submit
Mm,
it back to me with another chapter of that you continued, and then it's more like a passing it back and forth kind of thing.
what do you think
Or
about that process? Have you ever been involved
I
in
have
such a project?
I have not. I have not. It would be great to be able to collaborate. And since it's only January, why not? I wouldn't mind. If you have an idea, throw it my way. If I have an idea, I'll throw it away. Who knows? It might be
Because yeah.
it
Or
might be a sort of
anyone who's listening, yeah,
yeah.
you
Anybody
know.
who's listening, you can always message us and see what happens. Other people also would do is if they don't do it by chapter, they write it by character. So
Ah,
yeah. So it's like sorry, there's no other. The, you will probably be mad at me for using their names. I was like, okay, day one, I write from Bella. Day two, you write from Edward's point of view,
okay, that works. That
or
works.
something like that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we all, in spite of loving Anne and what she's contributed to vampire literature, we try not to sort of like uh, be on the combative side of other vampires.
No,
So
yeah, no,
yeah,
it's
we love
everyone
every
is
vampire.
accepted. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Okay. So toy hards, do not be mad at us.
There's space for everyone.
Yeah, there is space for everyone. That's right. Any lessons you learned from that collaborative process?
Oh, well, submit on time because
No,
it's just been
even if it's not collaborative, you always have to submit in
yes,
time. If
yes,
you want the editor breathing down your neck, then yeah.
yeah. Because can we just imagine the stress we give our editors because they have their own deadlines too? But yeah, just submit on time and I guess if you're the kind of writer that needs inspiration before they can write, then accept that as who
Hmm.
you are. That's how you function. Don't need to change that just because. But then if you are that person, then do what you need to do to be inspired. You know,
Yeah,
if you need to go out and to the beach or watch a movie or listen to music, whatever you need to help the juices get flowing, then do it. It's
yeah.
self care, it's self love.
True, I agree. Apart from meeting during Nano, and of course bringing books wherever we're going, whether we read them or not, another thing that we share as a bond is our love for Anne Rice and her works,
Yeah,
and we're also
yeah,
both members of Anne Rice Philippines. I was wondering,
yeah.
can you tell us which book of hers did you read first, and what was it about her writing style that sort of bonded you to her?
Hmm. Um, I had this English teacher. And the funny thing was because back in high school we would have like we were assigned to read classics and write book reports on them.
Hmm.
So my most beloved English teachers, Mrs. Tagal, I love you. Thank you for influencing me with my reading. But one day I saw her reading a pocketbook that was not in our reading list, and I was like, "What? You can read books that aren't, that not just by Mark Twain or George Eliot. You can actually read non-classics because my teacher was reading it. So I started, that sort of gave me permission to start reading um, more contemporary books. And I was reading Stephen King's Salem Slot.
Oh, Salem's Lot.
Yeah, you have it
Some
too.
It's somewhere there.
There, yeah. So of
Wait,
course
but
it's
I have a different edition. Wait,
do you have the you have the longer version.
I have actually a hardcover version and
Ah,
a paperback version. The hardcover is just right here. I'm sorry for
oh.
people who are joining us via audio. You can't see this, which means you need to see what we're seeing by way of the video. Wait, hold on. It's just here. Oh wow. This I found
It's really on.
online,
Oh,
and when I saw this cover, I
oh,
had
it's
to get it.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Can you
it
show us how
is.
thick it is? Ah,
That's how thick it
ah.
is.
So you probably
Um,
got the edition where he didn't take out passages. He kept most of it in.
uh, this is still the Doubleday edition, and it is copyright 1975.
That must be
So
it, right?
it could be this one. It could be this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But that where is that other
Because I
version?
think the later editions he took out a lot of the character exposition and some of the character relationships, which I feel just enriched. the story
And
altogether. I think
wait,
I think the later editions just kept the suspense and the thrill and the plot pushing forward, which also works for horror.
yeah, which is also good. So I don't know, maybe with the newer editions will not have this
Oh
passage
no, they
these
would.
these.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. Maybe
No, no.
I don't recall. Yeah,
Okay, this is like part two, the Emperor of Ice Cream.
yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, it was
So
just
yeah, I'm lucky. So
you
that I
are,
got this
you are
that I got this version, and I have two versions
cool.
to look over.
So
So
I was
sorry.
beautiful though, beautiful cover. I was reading like a pocketbook of that, and a girl from a different class. Her name's Luella. Maybe she's married now, but so she has a new last name. But Luella saw me reading a book on vampires, and she said, "Oh, you
Hmm.
like vampires? I'll meet me on Friday. I'll lend you a book, and you might like it." Turned out to be Interview with a Vampire, and so we meet Friday afternoon. I read it as soon as I get home. I finish reading sometimes Sunday afternoon, and it felt like a religious experience. Like I was just, whoa, what happened? It wasn't scary the way Salem's Lot is, but it's just it's incomparable. You cannot compare these books. Read them both.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
they're
Read them
totally
both. Read them
different.
both. Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so I sat there staring at my wall, at the wall of my room, just like, wow, what just happened? How did this woman carry me through this story? How did she do that? It was just really mind blowing. And so I returned the book, the next day, and pretty much I find out because she belonged to like the first class, like the brainy kids classroom.
Okay.
So the brainy kids classroom, all of them were reading Anne. Like some were reading Cry to Heaven, some were reading Feast of All Saints, some were reading like they were all reading Anne. I was like, what are you guys reading? This is nuts. And so
This is not in the list. Do you
this
have
is
a
not in
different?
our list.
Yeah. Do you have a different list than me? That's not
Yeah.
fair.
Not fair at all. But she introduced me to Anne's work, and that's how pretty much got me started on reading her, and it's just you know there's the beauty of her prose for one thing, and that's undeniable, and I know you would attest to that. There's just the way she handles prose, like um the only example I have in mind is if you go and grab a copy of Out of Egypt, Christ the Lord Out of Egypt, and
Hmm.
there's a paragraph there where the young boy Jesus gets into a fist fight with another boy, with their neighbor, with his playmate. If you read the prose is in staccato. Read it out loud, read it with your breath. The prose is not long and mellifluous. It just breaks and breaks and breaks and breaks. It mirrors the fist punches that Jesus was receiving, and
Hmm.
the dust and the mayhem of that melee. And then after that scene, when Jesus runs to Mary, goes into the room, and sorts of, and then the prose changes as well. And I think that's Anne's magic. She just has this way of telling a story and staying true to it, and knowing the right words to carry you along, and it's hypnotic. But aside from her prose, the thing that I love about how Anne worked is the depth of her research. That is one thing
Yes,
that,
that is undeniable. That is undeniable.
yeah,
That is true.
I had hoped that she taught a master class on researching for novels, because that the way the Vampire Chronicles didn't stay in New Orleans. It if you read the whole book, it's just pretty much all over the globe. Her
Yeah.
vampires are all over the world, and not just in one era. You have somebody from the Roman era, you have a Greek, you have somebody from who's Bedouin. It's all cultures, and she was able to research these cultures, these histories, and use that as a backdrop for her novels, and that's just made them so believable. And yeah, of course, there's also that you wish they were real. You wish that
Yeah,
Lestat
yeah.
would come someday and drink your blood. But
I'm
then
like, I need somebody to hang out on a Saturday night. Lestat, are you
please.
free?
But
Yeah.
of course, her writing and the extent and the depth of her research just helps you in that as a reader, and that is really something that I'm trying to emulate in Anne. And so like right now, I have a book on history and
I
um,
saw that. I saw it on your
yeah,
threads. You were reading
yes,
that.
yeah. I also have one on cosmology just there, and
Oh my
um,
God, on
because
cosmology.
I these are I guess the backgrounds I kind of want to be familiar with the story I'm writing right now, and I just imagination is great, and we use that a lot, and we channel our imagination into our writing, but being informed by science and history, they don't limit you. It they actually enrich you and expand your imagination in ways that you could never have imagined. So for this is now my official apology to all my history teachers whom I said were boring in elementary and high school. I am sorry, you guys were right. History was meant to be studied. It's really fascinating, and I learned that late in life and because of Anne.
There you go. That's it. That's the answer we were looking right there. So if you're a new reader and you're wondering, I'm seeing so many Anne Rice books on the shelf, so which one should I start with, or even should I even begin reading? That's the reason right there. You know, we can film an entire episode dedicated to Anne, and you know that
Sure.
we are going to go overboard, but
Super geek out.
but we yeah super geek out, but we need to get to work, and it's in time for Chinese New Year, and we need to talk about this
Okay.
as
Yes.
well.
Oh, right. I wrote a book. Right.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you for
did, you
reminding
did.
me.
Oh boy, this is volume 4. So I was wondering, are
Yes.
you part of volume 1 to 3 as well?
No.
Oh, you're not. Ah,
So every volume has two stories, and one author sort of contributed each for each volume. I
okay.
think there's about 13 in total for Legends and Zodiacs. It's a whole anthology on the Chinese New Year. So um like I think Eight Letters just posted like a call for if you have a story that's related to the Chinese New Year, submit it. And this one
Hmm.
again, my I'm not proud of this. This story was languishing in my hard drive also, and when I saw that post, I was like, yeah, I think I quite recall writing one like way back, but it was for children. It's not exactly a serious story. It was written for children, and sure, maybe I'll submit it. Maybe they'll take it if I do. So I send it, and they said, yeah, we're accepting your story. It's like, whoa. So that's how it came to be part of Volume 4, along with Mr. Fred Figueroa's story, Finding Hiroto
Yes.
Soto,
Yeah. Yours is called Legend of the Dragon Dance, and
Legend of the Dragon Dance.
without spoilers, can you tell the listeners what this is all about?
So it's about courage. It's about finding courage within yourself, and of course, with the help of some magical friends. It's about family.
Mm-hmm.
It's about staying true, and most of and that's for one of the major characters. For the second major character, it's about remembering who you
Mm.
are and what you were placed on this planet to do, and being totally all of that. I think, and in my younger years, wow, ang tanda na natin, charot, hindi naman. But so in our younger years, which is not so far back anyway, ayan na, may qualifier. We I would confess I had that sort of complex, which I don't know if it's an official name. I called it the Jean Grey complex, where you kind of want to be in the background of the X-Men, and let Cyclops lead, and let
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine lead, and let Storm do her thing, and just sort of only come through when everybody else fails. I call that the Jean Grey complex just in my head.
The
but yet
Jean Grey
Jean Grey,
complex. I know.
yeah,
I love that complex.
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, she's the one who actually has the phoenix in her, right? The phoenix
Yes.
power. So sometimes we kind of fall back on our Jean Grey selves, where we kind of just not want to show who we really are, our full talents. But then if we come into contact with our inner phoenix, or for the sake of argument, your inner dragon,
Mm-hmm.
then you unleash that, then you kind of have the potential not just to change your life, but to sort of change the lives of other people for the better. So no spoilers there. That's sort of where this children's story is about.
Yes. You have to read it in order to know more. All right. But um I would want to read a little bit of the blurb there if you would mind.
Sure, please do.
It says there, featuring a colorful cast of humans and mythical creatures, this exciting and delightful tale is sure to be a family favorite to be told after a hefty Chinese New Year meal of tikoy, noodles, lumpia, and pomelo. So when Annie gets kidnapped by a malevolent magician that is, she will need to rely on her own cunning and a powerful dragon friend. So will she be able to defeat this dark magician and save her town?
Yeah.
Well, you will have to read in order to know if she's able to do this. You said the story was languishing in your hard drive. So would you still remember what prompted you to write it?
Yes. There was this game called Pet Society, like way back on
Yeah,
Facebook,
I remember
and
that.
I played that a lot, and they had like certain themes depending on the holidays, and they had like a Chinese New Year theme, and I kind of liked how it looked like. So originally, this story was not made of humans, but of little pets, like
Okay.
tiny Pet Society pets. I just wrote it for fun, just like the way I do it, pen in hand, just get the story out because it's cute and it's fun. But then I had to transform the characters to human beings when I submitted it for this anthology to 8 letters, just to not make it so confusing. Like, why would they
Mhm.
have fur and why would they meow? That would just make it weird. So that's pretty much how it started. Do you celebrate Chinese New Year in a traditional way in your family, CJ?
um, well, not necessarily super traditional. I mean, we do have decoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We do eat out to celebrate, but not as traditional as other people were in. They would go to Chinatown and watch the dragon dance and all that. If ever we do, we just watch it on TV. We don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't.
Okay.
Well, I'm not that traditional, so all I know about Chinese New Year is that when it does set in, you know that you're supposed to give people tikoy, or if not, you're not Chinese, you're going to be getting some. And if it's cold now, usually the weather turns warm after Chinese New Year.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah. Well,
So if you feel
wow.
it's warm now, it's not yet, but
Not
it's going to
yet.
be
Yeah.
it's usually going to be that after
That's
Chinese New Year.
it's still quite cool, especially in the mornings and in the evenings, don't
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think?
yeah, exactly. When I go out for my stroll
Yeah.
after dinner, it's still a pleasant time to stroll around because of the wind and all that. So it's still pretty cool. But after Chinese New Year, it's gonna be warmer. So
Interesting. I'll,
that's
I'll watch out for that.
yeah, that's usually how it is. Is there a possible sequel in the works for this one? You think?
No, I think this is pretty set. I am, however, writing a second my second children's story.
Hmm,
Um
okay.
and I don't know if I should. Well, just it's still the story of heroism, just like in this book.
Okay.
The children are heroes. It's a little more local. There's no flavor of the Chinese New Year, and it's set in the province. So
Okay.
so that's pretty much I
That's
guess all I
the
can say for
overall gist.
now.
All you're allowed to say. Yes,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
you're allowed to
It's
say.
still in the works. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We will look forward to that one. But like every other creative, there will be days wherein I don't feel like it, or it's more like
Mm-hmm.
I'll do this later on, or I
Mm-hmm.
should do something else to get my juices flowing.
Mhm.
How do you handle that when you get writer's block? Any tips?
I give into it. You know, it's just I just accept it as an ebb and flow of life. You know, it's just
Mm-hmm.
I give into it. Like I don't feel like writing. I feel like staying in bed, or I feel like all of that. So I give myself a time to just do that until I come around and say, okay, this is boring. This is not how I want to spend my life. Um,
Okay.
and then I probably go take a shower, take a walk, or grab a book that I'm reading on. Um, and then I would go to my notebook, and because I have always had that attitude of anything can go in the notebook. Nobody's grading this. Nobody is even
Nobody
allowed
gets to
to
read it, I suppose.
read
Nobody gets
it
to read that. Yeah.
exactly until so I just go and write whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever's bothering me, why I think I'm blocked right now, and pretty much, I realize, hey, this one page of me trying to figure out why I'm blocked becomes another page, and gives way to a third page, and suddenly it's not about writer's block anymore. It's about, what is my character doing right now? And then the block isn't there anymore. And also sometimes I get to identify why the block set in. Like, somebody said
Mm-hmm.
something mean to you, and you didn't have the wit at that moment to retort, and you go, oh, I should have said that. Yeah, I should have, showed
Okay.
them. But
Yeah. Right.
once
Right.
you kind of deal with that on the page, like, yeah, it's somebody said something mean, shouldn't matter so much. It's just ego. It's just my ego getting hurt, and I can let that go, and just stay positive. So writing helps me in that way too, and it helps melt the block, and
I
so
love it. I love that way of. No one so far has said that, if you have writer's block, you give into it. You're the first one I've heard to say that and admit it, because yeah, true. I mean, you can't really sit down 8 hours a day every day to
yeah,
just be in front of the computer,
I
or
wish,
writing
right?
writing longhand. It doesn't work that way. We're human beings. We're not machines. So if there will be days that you don't feel like it, I guess it's okay.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
go read instead of write. That's
yeah.
still research. That's still also work. So
Eat a
whatever gets
chocolate
you.
bar.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the reward can come in first before you do the work. That's perfectly all right. Any rituals that you do before you write? Maybe some people play music.
Music, yeah.
Some people light a candle.
Oh,
some people dim the lights, or
that's interesting. I will try candle and dimming the lights. Gee, oh, now I know. I make cacao. And
Oh, great.
yeah,
Hot
so
chocolate.
hot chocolate, but I get the tablea that's unsweetened, so
Yes.
there's less
Yeah, yeah.
sugar. And then just I get like 2 tablets of that, and then I melt it in hot water. I stir it. I do not add sugar. Just I like the bitterness of it, and
Okay.
then I drink it, and then pretty much that sets me off. I think I go like
Nice.
I wake up and oh, okay, I think I should write now. So here's another thing: if you allow yourself to give in to writer's block, anytime naman that you have this urge to write, whatever you're doing, give in to it also. Like,
Ah, yes, yes,
you're in the
yes,
middle
yes.
of a conversation with a friend and it's going well, you get the urge to write, you just say, can we pause 1 second, I just need to put something down, or you're in the shower and a good story comes out, step out of the shower, go to your notebook and write. Always give in to that, to the
Or record on
urge.
your
Yeah.
phone.
Or record on your phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Give in to the urge to write, because I think if you do that more often, then the writing starts to confide in you more, and oh, it happens again. I
Wow,
think it's
good.
this. Try it.
You
Try
think
it.
that bunnies?
Ah, bunny.
Bunny,
So
no, no, I don't know. But that's the second time it's done that.
yeah,
So
must
yay.
be a sign. So
Yeah, it must be assigned to finish the episode, and for us to both go back to what our writing
yeah.
duties. Where can they get copies of the book?
I think online you go to Facebook, you go to Eight Letters web
Okay.
page, and I guess you message Cindy Wong, and she'll be happy to send you. And please do not just read volume 4; get the whole set because
Yes, the
it's
entire
so.
set.
Yeah, this is mine. Mine is the only children's story in the anthology. A lot of them it runs the gamut from romance to thrillers to mysteries. So if you like that whole stuff, and so and Chinese New Year is coming along, so
True.
knock yourself out.
Yeah, true. The one that you said that you were trying not to reveal too much spoilers about, would that be the metaphysical horror novel that you're working on?
Yes,
That's the one.
and that's why also why I'm reading a lot of cosmology
Okay.
and history, and because it's I it will I'm gonna have to go through all of that and the characters too also. So I'm excited to get that one out, and that's when I need the cacao for
Okay.
when I go to my desk to write that.
All right. I will take you up on that tip, and if in case I do encounter writer's block, I'll just have to cook me some hot chocolate and down it so I can be energized to write. If they want to know more about you and what you do on social media, where can they follow you?
My IG is shirtless reader. That's funny.
It speaks for
Shirtless.
itself. If you have not followed him, it speaks for itself.
So there, just I'm on IG. I'm also on Threads, but
Okay.
I'm on IG more than
More than.
any other social media.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. We shall put that in the show notes. So anyone who wants to know more of what you do and what production you'll be directing, for sure they will be able to know more about that, all of it, today. So that is a wrap for our episode. Thank you so much, Rico, for joining us today. We wish you all the best in your writing endeavors and as well in your acting and directing endeavors. And may you always be given the chance to impart your experience and not to mention your wisdom on writing creatives out there. Thank you to Spine Books for your support since day one, and also to our new friends over at Nerd Nibbles, of which you can follow them on Instagram. If you are a creative and you would like to be featured on the podcast, simply email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. If you want to get a copy of my own stuff, that's Sojourn and Take Me Now, simply visit the Spine Book Shopee page, and I'll put the link on the show notes so it'll be easy for you. All right, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and me as well over at cjedmonds.com. Till the next episode, enjoy the rest of the week. See you on the next one. Indie Creatives Unite. Keep creating, keep writing, and we will keep reading. Stay creative. Namaste, and blessed be. Rock on, creatives. You can do it. That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Till the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmonds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be. All right, for the benefit of the recording, can you just, throw back the question?
Okay. So, well, how about you? Like, what is it about Anne's writing that captivated you so much, and you even began a whole nationwide fans club for her?
I never thought people would ask me that because I never felt that I had to sort of like, justify or defend it. But because Anne's work should, really speak for herself. I guess when I first found Anne's work, that was at a vulnerable time in my life, or I was looking for myself, and I found it in Anne's books. I found that it was a world that I could go back to. It is a world that I wouldn't mind going back to repeatedly, and finding these sets of characters, sets of people that I can identify with, and it's that universal struggle to be good, that universal struggle to be true to who you are, that universal struggle to probably to make a difference in the world wherever you are, and no matter what you're doing. And it was that it came in this opportune time for me, and I think it was a sign from the universe for me to start reading. And so I read it before the movie came out,
Mm.
and I felt that the movie complemented what I read and vice versa, and cemented my love for what she did, for worlds that she has created, the world building aspect. It also made me appreciate how it is to be human, literally,
Mm. Mhm.
because as people who do a lot of stuff, we're always enmeshed in, oh, this is my job, I have to do this. This is I'm an HR director. I'm sorry, but if you're not performing, I have to take you out, right? But reading that reading Anne reminds me of our own humanity, of how it also feels to be empathetic to other people's
Mhm.
plight. So that, I guess, before you make a decision, you'll have to, you know, remember to weigh things down. Is it really worth pursuing? Is it really worth the heartache? Is it really worth, the agony of your conscience nugging at you, knocking in your door, in your head, and telling you, why did you do this? So it's that, and a whole other different things.
Yeah.
Of course, naturally, just like you, the prose is exquisite.
Yeah.
The images that she paints, it's it's more like she's a filmmaker putting her shots,
Mm.
her
Yeah.
pans, her shots were taken, long view or short view or whatever. They're all put into words, and
Yeah.
for so far, no other writer has done that for me.
Yeah.
And just like you, I try to do that, to capture what I see in my mind and have it translated onto paper. And that's what she says about her process of writing. That I try to put into paper what I see in my head all the time,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that that one line that describes what she does and how she does it resonates with me.
Yeah.
Then as a reader, but more so now that I've also started, writing and embark on this new creative endeavor. So I appreciate what she does, and I can only esteem that if I'm able to do half of what she does, I feel that I've raised the bar for myself just a little bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, and if you are a creative, and there's this one writer that you want to emulate, that's okay. You
Yeah.
start,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
you start by writing like somebody, and then the
Mhm.
more you write, you sort of discover your own voice,
Yeah.
and you realize that, okay, I'm writing it this way. My favorite writer might write it that way, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's
You don't
okay.
need to write it like her. You don't really need to write like Stephen King. You don't
Oh yeah.
need to, write like Preston and Child, or David Baldacci, or Terry Brooks, or who else is your favorite
Yeah.
author out there. You just need to read how they do it, and you do it the way that you want to.
Yeah, and then you then discover why you like them in the first place because
Yeah.
okay, because it's also a self discovery thing. But I love what you said about I think that was really beautiful when you said that just and this is what great literature does. It just really reminds us what it means to be human, and
Yeah.
that's just it. So it's just yes, big
Yeah.
check.
And if it takes a vampire, a witch, a Taltos, or whatever fictional character to remind us of our humanity, then so be it.
Yeah,
Because as living creative beings, we need to be reminded. And this is
yeah.
our reminder to you, right? Don't be an ass. All right. Whoever's listening to this, whoever's watching this, don't be a jerk. Be a compassionate, empathetic human being. For the love of whoever it is that you believe under the sun, be that.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Ayun, haba.
that's my answer to
Thank
the
you.
question. All right. Don't be an ass, because karma is gonna come back and bite your ass when you least expect it. All right.
Yeah.
Question
Thank
answered. Check.
Ayun, nahabol.
Habol, yeah.